From the darkest corners of the creepy old house down the street to the screams in the night, settle in, Parafamily, to join with Whitney and Brandon for another spooky episode of the Para-Unity Podcast.
Hello, Para family. As always, I am Brandon.
And I'm Whitney. Hi, Brandon.
Hello. So as you can see, I am kicked to the outside this evening. I am having all sorts of internet issues. My phone is not working right. So I don't know what's going to happen on my end, Whitney.
It's okay.
But that's okay. Due to unforeseen circumstances of sick natures, we have no guests. Ooh, I got bugs too. We have no guests, and we have no topic. So,
free for all.
It's gonna be a free for all.
We're gonna have a great night.
I don't know where this is gonna go. Strap in, hold on tight, because this will definitely be a wild ride.
We're gonna have fun because this is good. I mean, and honestly, Brandon, think of this as preparation for the Haunted Rock Island YMCA Paracon presentation that we still haven't prepared for yet.
We got our bookmarks. We got our t-shirts.
We do. I have my books. Anything else?
Oh,
I have my books. I've got my books.
We got our business cards.
Yes.
So we got this.
We got this. What could possibly go wrong? Nothing. It's going to be a great time.
So that's why more people need to go to it, because they're going to be like, what on earth is these people doing?
Yeah, you're pretty much just going to see us live and in stereo and in person, and it's going to be glorious. It's actually going to be my first Paracon outside of Virginia.
I know. Yeah. It's going to be my first Paracon outside of... No, I guess the games. Yeah, no. It's going to be your first Paracon outside of Virginia.
It's going to be my first. I am looking... No, in all seriousness, I am looking forward to it. And we'll definitely announce it more at the end of the show. But it's going to be in 2 weeks, y'all. It's in 2 weeks, October 7th. This is so exciting. So, yes. Brandon, aside from horrible technology issues, how are things going with you? Let's use this moment to kind of... I look at all things as an opportunity. Let's take that moment, take that opportunity to kind of dial it back a bit and reflect a little bit and think about what we did this past weekend.
Well, we were very busy, both of us. I know both of us run investigations.
Mm-hmm.
So I was at Small Town, Iowa, their public library.
Oh, cool.
And I am so disappointed because by all means, there should have been an apparition that was sitting there at the card catalog, and I wanted somebody to go, get her!
No!
And we didn't have any books floating off the shelves. We didn't have any ectoplasm on the card catalog.
That is a nightmare to clean off, by the way.
But it wouldn't have been my job, so that's okay.
Yeah, that's true. Mm-hmm.
So
sorry you were so disappointed by no cartoon style hijinks of like back in the 1980s. So sorry you didn't have that happen to you.
I know, I'm a little disappointed. I mean, I didn't even have Bill Murray, so...
Yeah. But were you there with your team?
2 of us.
Oh.
So our team is like a garden. It just grows and expands. And we had teams. We had a team member at Broadhead Manor. We had another one doing some family stuff. We had one at a paranormal conference, I believe, in Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. We have another one at home with little kids, and another one was at some other function. So, I mean, we were just spread, and then the two of us that were left were like, hey, let's do this. What could go wrong? So we investigated with the two of us, the director of the library and the city clerk.
Hey!
So it was fun. And the city clerk told us, she's like, I don't know why I'm doing this, because I still like to sleep at night.
Fair. Legit. Very legit. But so that's really cool that town officials were right there with you guys.
Yeah, and I mean, so the town that we were in, I'm kind of keeping a little quiet because,
of course,
some of the stuff in the town that we work with is kind of not to be discussed,
right?
And I'm just figured I'll just keep the town out my mouth, so that way we're good on all cases. But I mean, it was a nice time. I have somewhat of a personal connection with the town, so it was kind of neat to be in there. I'd never been in that building before. So the building itself used to be split. Half of it was a bank, and the other half of it was a bar. So, and they closed them off. And the interesting enough part was, with having the city officials with us, we got a lot of history on the place before we started. So, and there was history about the town that I didn't even know about. Like, go figure, there was they called it the Orphan Train back in 1906 that came from New York City to this little itty bitty town. And when I say little itty bitty town, this town probably only has a couple hundred people in it.
So imagine how small it was in 1906.
Actually, back then
it was bigger. It was a boom town.
Yeah, so I mean, it wasn't much bigger. It's still a lot of farmers. So we got to hear about this. And so the fact that New York City sent orphans to Podunk, Iowa, was kind of cool. And the director, she's actually gone through the effort of tracking down all the orphans. So they know she's managed to find the history and story of how all the orphans turned out, all of except for one she's still working on. So
that's wonderful. Yeah. I've heard of the Orphan Train. It's interesting. I think the orphan train lines ran through the early 20th century, sending children who may not necessarily were orphans, but whose parents, for whatever reason, were unable to take care of them. Some of them came from some pretty big families, and they just didn't have the ability to take care of all the kids. So they thought it would be better for them to be sent out towards the West, where they had more of a chance to maybe have a bit of a better life out in the fresh air and sunshine and all that. And sometimes they did try to keep the kids together if they were siblings. Other times they just weren't able to do that. But the old Unsolved Mysteries with Robert Stack actually did an episode on the Orphan Train. It's really interesting story.
I might have to go back and watch that now. Yeah. Just because it's like I have like a personal connection almost now, because they have photos of the kids when they came to town, like with their representatives or whatever from New York. They have a picture of the group of them in one of their books, and all their names and like what families they went to and everything like that. So it's
that's
really
so cool. Yeah. So what were some of the claims of activity, if I may ask?
Not much.
Okay.
So there was a possible apparition, or at least shadowish apparition there. One of them, the director, had showed up like bright early in the morning. She was the first one there, because she always is. She does the same exact thing. She comes in, unlocks the door, turns on these 3 sets of lights, and then goes over to her desk. So she came in the one morning, unlocked the door, shut it, went to turn on the lights, and she heard hello. And she's like, and she goes, hi. And like,
hi?
and no response. And so she kind of walked around the library, and there's nobody there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but at least it doesn't sound like it's really, really scary.
No, not even
haunting. That's really cool.
So they have pictures of when the one side of it was a bank. And like you can literally stand there. It still has some of the old tile that was there when it was the bank.
Ooh.
And like all like the crown molding and the roofs and stuff like that. And you can see where the safe was, and they actually have the safe door still down in the basement.
Neat.
Yeah. So I mean, history-wise, this place was whoa, right? And then the ironic part of it is the other half of the building,
a bar,
was the bar. And that is where the children's section is.
Ironic.
And so, and from it sounds like is there were some assaults and some other nefarious things that happened when it was a bar there.
I'm sure.
And actually where a lot of that stuff happened is where they put the sensory room.
I don't know how I feel about all that.
Well, you're looking at, I mean, literally, this is, think of 2 row houses put side by side. That's about the width. That's about the width of this entire library.
Makes sense.
That's about the depth of the library. Think small town, Main Street, 2 storefronts combined into one thing.
Yep.
That'll give you about the idea of how big it was. The bank was small enough to where they only had 2 tellers.
Okay.
But it had like the big like Wild West steel cage across it.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah, so
cool.
So that was pretty cool. So chat wise, hello Darren, hello Betsy,
hi chat.
Hello Penny.
It's just us tonight. Hope you're okay with that.
And we have no topic, so please, if there's want to discuss anything, bring it on up.
Yeah, bring on some questions. Bring on some, things that you'd like to share, because we'll share them. Just so you know.
So we had minimal equipment with us.
Mm-hmm.
So which was kind of nice because it's been a long time since I've had an investigation where it was like the bare minimums,
right?
Of like flashlights, spirit boxes, and one K2, and that was about it.
Okay.
So we went definitely back to our roots, which I think was kind of fitting for it being a small town library.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was a blast getting to go back because you sometimes you can get so wrapped up in the equipment you forget about the feels. So.
Oh yeah.
So getting to get back into the feels again, and I mean, we were having some really, really good flashlight activity. Apparently they didn't like me because when I did my Estes session, I heard literally nothing. Not even a radio station came in. It was just static.
Interesting.
And when my teammate, when Allie did it, she was getting voice after voice after voice. They're just blah, 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 blah. So they don't like me, which is, normal for me.
That's all right.
I have a moth friend. Hello, friend.
For those of you who don't know, and for those of you who will listen to us in audio format only, Brandon is outside on his patio tonight, and so therefore he. And that was interesting. I don't know.
Yeah.
That was my end. I think that was my end.
Mine said no internet, so I was assuming it was mine.
Okay, well, whatever. We're fine. We're okay. We're good. All right. Well, let's.
So where did you go this weekend?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So that's one thing that me and Brandon have in common tonight is we both had investigations this weekend. So I was with was a public investigation with our friends at Transcend Paranormal. Hi, Steve, and all of you guys. We were doing 2 different investigations, 2 locations. We were in Ashland, Virginia, which is literally down the street from me, and we were at a movie theater, and then at this arts and activity center. So both the spirits are draining our bandwidth. This is beautiful tonight. Darren has been to Ashland. That's cool. Okay, yeah, this has been a very interesting night tonight, hasn't it, Brandon?
Yeah. So, I mean,
anyway, Ashland was interesting.
I don't even know what to think.
I don't know what to think anymore, too.
My technology's dead.
Yeah. Tell you what, dear fans, dear Parafam, just bear with us if you can. If we go out a few more times, we'll just stop for the night. And hey, we have a mini episode. I think, Darren, what you're talking about is Asheville, North Carolina. This is Ashland, Virginia, that I was going to, but the Biltmore Estate is gorgeous. I totally would want to check it out anyway. But Ashland, Virginia, for one thing, it's a train town. So we've got there is a train just running right through the center of town all the time. Yes. And so you have the theater, which is a movie theater. It's a one-room movie theater. It was opened in 1948. And now they actually kind of alternate between doing actual movie runs and also community events. It's celebrating its 75th anniversary this year. Yay. Mm-hmm. And it's really cool. It's got that Art Deco sort of neon lights. If you ever go on the internet and check it out, it's really cool. And then the other building we went to is a little further into town, but it's called the Hanover Arts and Activity Center. That's an old building. It actually was built in 1859, I believe, and it was opened as a Baptist church. Then it became a hospital during the Civil War, and then it went back to being a church until 1969 when the congregation left. And so it was converted into arts and entertainment space.
Very cool.
So a lot going on in both of those spaces.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, Ashland Theater actually had been through a big renovation. So I know that always stirs some things up. It's fun. So that last Saturday was the first time I ever investigated at Ashland Theater. I've been in there a couple of times, but mostly just to, go to a movie, or in my case, I was seeing a stage theater show. They were doing Thornton Wilder's Our Town, which is one of my favorite plays. So I was there to see that. Now, I have seen somebody up in the balcony that's not supposed to be up there. So that's always fun.
Have you ever noticed in those theaters though, that's one of the spirits that's always in a theater. It's the one on the balcony.
It's always a balcony spirit. There's always one. And I think it's because the balconies are such interesting little spots, because it's very exclusive. So you don't really think of anybody really looking up at you, but at the same time, if you were of high society, it was the place where everybody was going to see you.
Yep. And on the same side of that is you can see everything from up there. Mm-hmm. So we have one back in Dubuque, the theater that we always went to, the Grand Opera House. In their balcony, there's a shadow that hangs out up there, and he actually will come down to the front level of it and wave. So
that's really cool. Mm-hmm. There was a tradition from my college in the big auditorium that was named after a former president of the college. He was such a patron of the theater that he had his own seat, and every opening night, even after his death, the theater people would leave a rose on his seat. And if you didn't do that, then he was going to cause some problems in the theater.
That's awesome.
It was pretty awesome.
That's what I need to do. I'm still set on the idea of, so my favorite one is the one I saw it online where it's like, I'm gonna hire or get one of my friends to do it when I die, is to send the text message from my phone that says thanks for coming.
Lovely.
So when that happens and you get the text message, or maybe I'll have you be the one that sends the text message.
Ooh, okay. We can't tell anybody else that that's a possibility.
Nobody heard this.
Nobody heard this. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Don't tell anybody. I mean it. Don't tell anyone.
Betsy's I'll do it.
Yes. Maybe get a bunch of us to do it, so that way you can't trace it to any one of us. You never know who it's going to come from. Yeah. So yeah, it was an interesting night. It was a long night. It was from like 7 p.m. to 1 a.m. I personally need to bounce after like 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock because it's like I am exhausted.
Really?
I do. I sometimes have to.
Oh, I'll go till I usually I go till about 2. So
maybe I can stretch it to 1 if I know that I'm going to go to a place where I'm going to crash afterwards.
But it kind of depends on the place too, though, because if you think about it, because like if it's slow and quiet and dead, I'll bounce out early, because I mean, if they're not interested in communicating, they just want to be left alone. So I mean, there's no reason to continue to try and communicate. Now, if it's popping,
mm-hmm.
I'll stay later. But usually 2 o'clock's kind of the unwritten time of us heading out.
Yeah. Well, usually I'm also still trying to get a hang of my abilities as a sensitive. And when I tap into an environment, it's like it does take a lot out of me.
Oh, well, that's true.
Yeah. And I did. Okay, so here's an interesting little chain of events that I will share with you guys. That was not just something I experienced using my abilities, but also something that was happening with equipment around the same time. So we were in the theater, we were upstairs, and we were in the area where the old projection booth still is. So this thing is still there, the old projector. It's massive. It's like a tank. It really. Mm-hmm. And so theoretically, I want to say this projector may have been around since the 40s, maybe even the 50s. So it's been there for a while. It's a really cool piece. I took a picture of it. I'll post it up, and you guys can tell me what you think of it. So we are sitting in this area right outside where so you've got these small windows. You've got window over here, window down here, window up here, and window up here. So like you would see in an old projection booth. Mm-hmm. So during the renovation, that whole area was closed off. So if we were actually if it was before the renovation, we would not be sitting up there. We would be down in the theater. So just to give you guys a view of that. So we're sitting in this upstairs area, and I'm just sort of sitting there, just sort of kind of getting a feel. I had already tapped into, I think, who was the projectionist, because it would make perfect sense, because he's like this is my area. You really aren't supposed to be here, but I'm not mad at you. You know, I'm not going to kick you out or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm looking at one of those windows, and I see a face in the window. Now, here's the problem with this window. It's actually blocked off. There's drywall, and there's like a mat painted over that particular area. There's no reflection coming from that thing whatsoever. It is blocked off. The other 3 windows do have are windows still.
Mm-hmm.
But this one is not. And that's where I'm seeing a face.
And
at the same time, that's happening. Now, I'm not seeing it with my eyes. I'm seeing it, sensing it.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, my sensitive abilities kind of manifest as like a really weird form of synesthesia. Like I'll hear, it's more like if I feel a voice, then I'll kind of hear it in my head. You know, it's very strange. I'm still trying to figure out how it's working. And I've been dealing with this for years and I'm still not figuring it out. Anyway, so I'm seeing this face. My fellow investigator is looking in that direction. He has his camera out and he's getting shadows movement in that space. Let me tell you again, there is no way, because that whole window is completely blocked off. And nobody else is sitting in that area. There's no movement of shadow casting in that area. He and I are on the other side of the room, and our shadows aren't even casting on that. And I was looking around, just kind of making sure. And then the frickin' REM pod goes off in the projection room.
Nice.
Yes. So that was kind of interesting. And I'm like, I actually had to walk up towards that window space and I'm like, it's completely blocked. It's like drywall and
So one of the things that kills me with investigations, and I don't know if you're like me or not, but like when I go to a place, if I hear like movements or seeing shadows moving in a room, or you hear knocking or footsteps or anything like that, my first instinct is to go and like haul ass into that room.
Yeah.
It's like there's so many other people that are like, what are you doing? Why are you going in there? And it's like, I don't even think about where the other people in the team are. I'm just like, gotta go. It's like, I don't know if I'm like so like mentally like prepped and wanting to see like whatever it is standing there or what. But I mean, it's put me into some really bad situations in the past, but it's like, I can't not do it.
I mean, I think there is this, it's like that instinct that gets kicked in when you see something unusual, and it's like, I'm either going to go in and check it out or I'm going to do something else. So I see what you mean by that. I just was like, I'm seeing a fucking face, right? Yeah, that was a little weird. So we have a question popping up in the chat. Betsy says that Rowan is going to do. Oh, are we talking about Dr. Oh, yes.
My favorite character.
My favorite character too. I have a soft spot in my heart for Dr. Rowan Pierce. Yes.
I love Rowan.
I do too. All right. What equipment do you recommend he use on an investigation at the Stanley Hotel?
Is Rowan still like jacked to the nines, Betsy?
He's not the I know he's not the PhD. He's going for it though, or at least he was.
Yeah, he's still jacked. Okay, good. Because like every time I read the book, every time I read the book, I picture. So think of somebody like my height, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know I've read his descriptions in the book before, but it doesn't matter because my brain still does this. It puts him at like my height, and like with like John Cena's body, just like. But that's just how I picture him, and it doesn't matter because that's Rowan.
I mean,
oh my gosh.
Betsy confirms he is tall. Before we continue on with that, Darren Buss also says he's got a new REM pod coming out that may be very interesting. It's a Bible REM pod with built-in music box that will start saying the Lord's Prayer when it's set off. Okay, that's going to freak me out. I am going... Oh, Michael Fassbender. Yeah.
I gotta look him up. I don't remember exactly what he looks like.
I do.
Oh my. Oh my gosh.
Oh shush. Hush. Actually, come to think of it.
No, I was thinking bigger than him. Like
like he can't
beefer.
be that big.
No, that's what I was thinking. It was like big guy.
Dad bod.
Like no, like not even close. Like no, not even close. Like big dude.
Anyway, what kind of equipment?
I don't know. What equipment has he used in the past, Betsy? I can't remember off the top of my head.
Did he even, has he even ever investigated the Stanley? I don't think he has.
He hasn't investigated the Stanley.
He
went
there. Yeah. He was there when Lauren went investigating, and that's how they met, because he was the EMT that came in there after she had her injury, if I remember correctly, from Veritas Codex series. Yes. Yeah, she says he hasn't investigated there a lot, or not a lot.
I think he should go in literally like bare bones, because he gets into the mindset of wanting to be right there with her and along her side, but I think he also has the mindset of wanting to protect her, even though he knows she can definitely take care of herself. But I think he's gonna want to go in as I'm here to back you up, make sure nothing happens to you.
I don't think he should I don't think he should use equipment that's going to distract him too much. Because that's something that happens with today's equipment. There's a lot that can easily distract you very easily.
Betsy, are you having us help you write your next book?
Because we don't mind. I mean, we really don't.
Right, so Darren said the Bible is not made to offend people. It's
of course
more or less
not.
Wanting to see if a spirit can say a Bible verse in the recorder.
That'd be interesting. And for the record, the
fucking dog.
Hello.
Hi. We have a doggy.
What do you call a group of ghosts?
What?
Like, no, it's not a joke. Like,
what do you call a group of ghosts? What's the joke?
It's not a joke. I need to know. What do you call it? Like, it's a flock of flamingos. What do you call a group of ghosts?
A gaggle? I don't know.
A boo crew.
A boo crew.
Kelly, I love you. I really do.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
that dog just completely scared me to death. Come here, you dumb dog.
Oh, puppy.
Fresh haircut.
Yes.
Go potty.
Go on. I think it's interesting to see in what way that's to kind of follow up on what Darren was saying. I think it's interesting to see how we can take the instruments that are being used and see if we can kind of adjust them in a way that would make sure spirits can relate to them, because sometimes it's hard.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know. You never know until you try. That is the truth. And Betsy says she's already written the book. Of course she has.
Of course she did.
Of course she has. I
She's
wish
probably already written one this evening just while we've been talking.
I'm sure she has too. Speaking of Betsy and her writing, she is appearing in Autumn Tales 2, which is a volume of 22 amazing horror stories released by Anatolian Press. And I'm in it again. This is the same short story collection that we did last year. Where the proceeds go from Amazon, proceeds go to help Collective Liberty, which is an organization fighting against human trafficking. So now our horror anthology with Heart has grown bigger. There are 22 authors doing it this year. So check it out. Her story, Betsy's story, is called City of the Dead. My story is called Whispers. And all I'm saying is I'm taking on the Jinn.
Ooh.
Yes.
That will be good.
October 24th is when it's set to come out, which is my son's birthday.
13th. And you'll be in Germany.
Not until November.
Oh, I thought you were going in October.
No. We're going. Yeah, that's another thing that's coming out, guys. I am off to Germany my son will kill me because I'm not saying the German version of it, but my German is bad. So I'm not going to risk it right now. We're going to Munich, and we will be there from November 6th through November 10th. And this is to celebrate my son's 13th birthday. And I am going to check out haunted places there. I will drag my husband and son to as many as I can find.
Good.
So if you know anyone...
So now we're going to expect to see some live streams.
I will do my best because it's the best. It's the least I can do because I'm going to kind of leave you alone that week, and you'll have Brandon Alvis on the show.
Oh my gosh!
Sorry. I sorry.
Sticking me with another Brandon.
Oh. Hey, I've been stuck in a room with a Brandon, and a Brienne.
I was there too.
Yes, I was stuck with all three of you. Brandon and Brienne Scheck-Snyder are wonderful friends from Southern Gothic Podcast. We had them on the show last year. They were amazing. I loved them.
I'll have to read his book before we have him on.
Yeah. And also they've been doing some cool things with their show Haunted Discoveries. So
oh yeah, they have.
Yeah. Very excited for them. Very excited. We love you guys. Anyway, yeah, so quite a Brandon, have you realized that we just seem to be speeding things up now that we're getting older instead of slowing down?
Yeah. And my internet works like the rest of my body.
Slow?
Slow and non-existent.
Oh, man. So you actually, okay, I kind of want to ask you, but feel free not to get into it if you don't want to. I know you went to Edinburgh Manor. Sorry. I want to go to Edinburgh Castle too. Edinburgh Manor. You went there and you had an interesting time.
It was a wild evening. Lots of interactions. It was very busy. I mean, we spent so much time down in the basement. I ended up having to leave early. But we were doing just an open session. No spirit box, nothing. But we had 4 different sets of flashlights set up. So we were sitting, Cooper shush. We were sitting in it would have been the cafeteria area in the basement. And where we were sitting, there was one hallway that went down to the laundry room area. Cooper. The other hallway went down towards like where the maintenance person lives.
Right.
And that's where like the solitary confinement cell is, and like all that stuff. And so we had like this perfect view of these two hallways. And then so we had two flashlights set up in the one hallway towards the maintenance area. And then we had the two flashlights set up in the other hallway, one close to us and one about 3/4 of the way down the hall towards the laundry room. Then we had another flashlight set up on one of the counters behind us. And then there was one more? Yeah, I think there was one more back behind us, back behind where I was sitting. Because I was sitting, so I had a straight view down that maintenance hallway. And then my friend Rich was sitting next to me at the table. Would you stop?
He's talking to the dog.
He is. He listens as well as everybody else does to me. And then Rich was looking straight down the other hallway. So we had a perfect like cross-angle view. But we would ask a question and different flashlights would trigger depending on the question. And like, or one would start to kind of flicker over here. Like we'd ask a question and this one like would go like this. And then down the hallway, this one down here would start to go off. And then this one behind us would go off. And it's like, so it literally felt like we were talking to all these different people. And I mean, it was crazy. We had all sorts of different experiences. Great shadow movements up on the second floor. In the hallways, watching the shadows, like literally like figures of people like walking. You can see them walking across the entryways because I know Darren's been there quite a few times, so he knows what I'm talking about. So it's basically a big H. So like you have the main one that kind of splits across, and then you have the men's side and the women's side.
Right. Yeah.
And you can be standing on the one side and look all the way down that hallway and see that crossing, and you can see them walking across.
Wow.
And so that was super cool. And then we were on the one side, and we found out that just because we like to ask crazy random questions because you never know what kind of response you're going to get. So we asked them if they liked Elvis. And we got some good flashlights reactions from it. So we turned on Elvis and all of our stuff started going off.
Oh, wow.
So we had a little dance party and we were dancing around and having fun. And then we turned on somebody turned on some new, I think it might have been T-Swift. I don't know. They turned on something newer and like everything like died.
This is not a bash on new music, but maybe they like what they like.
Let's just say the Eras tour didn't go that far back.
That's true. That's true.
But yeah, so I mean, it was very interesting. I mean, it was pretty wild.
Sounds like it.
I was pretty wiped out afterwards for a couple days.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was just how much spirit interaction we were having or if it was the mold.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's an old building. I mean, it amazes me that it was still in operation into the 2000s. But you know, a lot of people say that it's an asylum, but it's not.
No.
It's sorry, Coop. You're stuck out here with me. But they it's kind of fallen into disrepair. I mean, they're working on keeping it running, working on improvements on it to make it safe again. Yeah. But you know, the paint's starting to kind of peel and fall off. I mean, which totally makes the atmosphere that much cooler.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of people may not necessarily realize it, but he's whining because you can hear the police cars going by.
I heard them.
So, but it closed seemingly so abruptly that they everything's still there. Like you go into like some of the patient rooms and they have some of their like personal belongings are still there. You can go into the doctor's office rooms and there's still files and stuff like that. So it's literally like everybody that was in there just vanished.
Yeah. They just left it all. There's something, I mean, not to sound punny, but that there is something very haunting and evocative about leaving things being left behind like that. And what happens to buildings and what happens to locations when they don't have humans there to take care of it. It's going to fall apart.
And of course, you know, it wouldn't be complete without, you know, the typical sexist things that were back then when they put it up. You know, like the men's side, you know, they had like, it was set up more for like, and I'm probably saying all this wrong. So Kat, sorry. I'm doing my best. But like it was set up, you know, guys could sit out on the balcony and, you know, have their cigars or whatever they were doing. And the women's side, you go out on the balcony and it's caged off like a chicken coop, you know, because they're worried, you know, when women reach their crazy time of the month that they would lose their minds and jump off the second floor balcony to kill themselves. So they put a cage on the outside.
Blah, blah, blah. Although, I mean, yeah, that's something that we really should discuss more at some point. At maybe next season, for all I know. I would love to do something about health and the paranormal, because not just with investigators, because we, as you pointed out, we go into all these places and there's mold and there's lead paint and all this crap all around you. You don't know what you're breathing in. And I know some investigators have actually developed some real problems as a result of that. Then, you would have loved this. I actually tripped and fell at the investigation. I tripped and busted my knee.
Did a ghost trip you? Or
no, the stairs tripped me as I was going up. And it wasn't even it wasn't during the investigation either. It was before we started, so the lights were all still on. I'm clumsy, okay? I'm clumsy.
Oh my gosh. I love it. No shame. It's okay.
Thank you. Yeah, Betsy has added asbestos, pigeons, bats, dilapidated buildings full of hazards. Oh my. Yes. But also, you know, as we mentioned earlier, I mean, when Brandon left Edinburgh Manor, he was pretty much tapped for 2 whole days. I was tapped, you know, on this last investigation between 2 different buildings. I was tapped pretty much for a good day or 2. I was ready to leave even before they called it quits. So it's real. This is very real, folks. And I think it does. I think it's something that needs to be really discussed more and supported.
Well, another one that my foot just slid off the table.
As my son would say, sounds like a skills issue.
Oh, big time. One of the things that was really interesting to me is, so there was a place I went where there was a person that appeared. I'm very loosely using the phrase person because they resembled a person, but they weren't quite right. So this one was interesting because, you know, although I've seen stuff similar to that before in the past in other places that I've been, this one was interesting because this one didn't go away. And when I say didn't go away is, so that night, a couple nights later, a couple weeks later, she would pop. It looked like a she for all intents
and purposes. Okay.
Yeah, we'll just say it's a she. because it did have feminine feature issues, but it would show up in dreams.
Weird.
Never like the projection it gave off in the location was the, don't fuck with me.
Mm-hmm.
But in the dreams, it still gave that off, but you didn't have that, like, it's going to mess with you. It was just kind of like showed up like, remember me? Yeah, piss off. Type thing. But it was so interesting that it continued to manifest for lack of a better term.
That's interesting. And that's never happened before?
Mm-mm. Nope.
Yeah. Must have really struck a chord with you somehow.
I don't know.
Hopefully she won't come back tonight.
Well, if she does, she does. I mean,
yeah.
It's in a dream. I mean, dreams are so funky anyway, so.
No kidding. I have the weirdest ones. And they're weird because it's like a combination of places that I really do know, and also places that I've never been to, but I know about them anyway. And they're kind of melded together, like Inception style. So all this weird. And also, people don't listen to me in my dreams. That might be yeah, you say people don't listen to you in real life. Well, people don't listen to me in my dreams.
Well, I'm so soft spoken.
Right. Of course. Of course. Yeah. And folks, please excuse my voice quality. My voice is shot because, well, it's fall in Virginia. We had a tropical storm too. Whee! Yeah, I should have added that detail to the investigation this weekend. We had a tropical storm going through.
Nice. So that reminds me of when I was at Farrar. So when we were at Farrar, we had a huge thunderstorm that went through while we were doing our investigation. And like watching like on the EDI meter, watching like the pressure changes flashing off on that as the storm approached. And like you could physically watch on our equipment all like the pressure changes with the barometric pressure and like the temperatures and everything. You could watch all that change live in person as the storm approached.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as the storm hit, all the other stuff started going off, like the EMFs and the tripwires and everything. So like when the lightning flashed, they would all go and it was so cool.
Oh yeah.
Getting a chance to see like Mother Nature affecting the equipment. And it really makes you go, oh, this stuff actually works.
Yeah. It's like
yeah. It was super neat.
Yeah, we kind of even though we didn't have any lightning or anything like that during the storm, we did have tons of wind, tons of rain, and it was like sheets everywhere. It's like, shh. So we felt the equipment was like, it was really interesting. Yeah.
It's super cool.
It was super cool. We're super cool people, Brandon.
You know what else is super cool? We actually had people that sat on here and watched this entire house.
And we thank you guys so much, Betsy and Darren and Penny, and maybe other people actually sat and watched, but we don't know it yet.
Because you didn't say hi. How dare you?
Hi.
So, one of the things I do want to tell you guys is almost here. October 7th. That is the Haunted Rock Island YMCA Paracon. That is going to be the Cat's Meow of paranormal conferences, because you get not one of us, but two of us live and in person together. And we are doing we're actually, as crazy as they are, asked us to present while we were there. So not only are we vendors of this lovely conference, but we are actually presenters.
I'm hiding my eyes right now because this is such a train wreck.
So we are probably never going to be invited back, but that's okay.
This is great.
I don't care. It's gonna be absolutely wild. And you guys,
there's some amazing there's some really cool things coming out there. And also this is an area that I know absolutely nothing about. So I'm excited to just be someplace new and finally get to be with this guy in person. What? No, seriously, this is good. It sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun, guys. If you're in Illinois, if you're in that area, come see us. And also come see the other awesome people. We'll have t-shirts, we'll have bookmarks. I'll be selling copies of my books, and I'll even freely autograph them to apologize for the train wreck that will be our presentation.
And I'll autograph them too.
Yes, you may. I'll let you. Yeah.
I'll pick a couple of them and just write it in the back, so that way when they get to them, they're like, "What? Why did he say it?" Or maybe I'll just sign bookmarks. How about that?
You can. Hey, let's figure that out when we get there, I guess.
I'll get a little stamper with my name on. Just.
That's so impersonal.
Have you seen my handwriting?
No, yes, actually, I have not.
You don't want to. Oh. So there's going to be over 60 vendors there. And I mean, we're talking like Reiki, we're talking mediums, we're talking equipment, we're talking haunted locations. There's tons of people that have been actually on our show that are going to be there. The Cambry House will be there. We had Rebecca on. Paranormal Exposures will be there. We had Heidi on from them.
Will and Kat and Heidi.
And Kat is one of the tour guides at Edinburgh. I mean, it's just, I can sit there and name people after people after people. I don't know, but I heard that Cynthia might be there. I haven't double checked with her yet.
Cynthia, baby girl.
I've been trying to talk Tina and Gina to come up for it from our team that down in Florida, our friends down there.
That would be so awesome to see them.
So I mean,
it'd be great to see everyone.
If you're in Iowa, Wisconsin, Illinois, Missouri, all of those 4 states are right near there. I mean, we're talking within a couple hours of being able to be there. So there's no reason you can't just make the drive, because darn well you've driven further to go to a haunted place. Well, guess what? This place is haunted. It's a very active place. They are doing an investigation at the end of the night in there as well. And this whole thing is to support
this location.
So that way it can stay open so teams can come and check it out.
I love it when people do that. I love it when teams actually are like, the proceeds are going to these locations for preservation, education, for just all the stuff that they need. So, yeah.
Well, we'll do you one better. If you cannot go, and I mean, because the only reason you wouldn't go is because you're probably like on
doing
your
something
deathbed.
Better.
There's nothing better to do than go to this place. I think Whitney and I may find some time throughout the day to wander and do live streams and just be fun and stupid together.
Just like we are right now.
In person together.
Yep.
And then, so you can watch that and feel sad that you didn't go. And we'll guilt shame you while we're doing it. And then later on in the day, and I really need to find out when we're actually presenting, so we know.
That would be a good thing.
In case I need to go get me a burger or something, and they're like, "Oh, by the way, you're going on," and like,
if you're going on a food run, you're gonna get me food too. Just so you know.
Of course.
Yes.
So we got that, and so if you really can't go, make sure you're watching our Facebook, because you'll get the live streams.
Yes.
And you'll get to watch our live episode. I love calling it that. I'm sorry.
Live.
It's our live episode.
On what topic? What are we talking about?
It's one of the most I can't use the word. Enigmatic and
very good.
Shifty and controversial and creepy and just out of this world topic.
Literally.
Aliens.
Yep. Aliens. We're going aliens. Oh boy, this is gonna be fun. What could possibly go wrong?
It works because there's going to be cryptid hunter vendors there and everything like that. So, I mean, aliens really aren't out of the realm of this conference. I mean, if there's anything in the paranormal field that you've even been like, that kind of sounds cool, go, because they have it.
I really liked the way you just said, really sounds cool. Wow.
I'm trying to reach out to more people.
I can see that. Yes. You're doing your French kiss.
Thanks. I'm working on my animation for our live.
For real, guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you're able to join us in Rock Island, Illinois, we will see you there on October 7th. And we'll also continue to see you on the internets because that's the way we roll. And thank you for your patience tonight and putting up with air shenanigans. But this is really cool because now we've actually been able, now you know that we actually do investigate, not just talk about investigation.
And we're still as dumb in person as we are on the scripted shows.
Well, I mean,
me. I'm still as dumb. How about that?
Although, to be fair, cryptids and UFOs, that's not always in my wheelhouse. So I'll be learning something new. So cool.
Yep.
And on that happy note, thank you, all of you, for joining us on the chat tonight. I think me and Brandon are about ready to end this train wreck of an episode. So thank you for joining us on the Para-Unity podcast. And if you like us, you can go on Apple Podcasts and leave us a 5-star review or maybe a 1-star after this episode.
Nope, 5. 5.
We're trying. But more importantly, please leave us a review because we need that feedback to make our show better. And we actually do read them. So thank you, guys.
All right. And then if you're an Android listener, you can follow us on Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, or just simply say, Alexa, play the Para-Unity podcast. And she will. That way you never miss an episode. Remember, if you like the show, tell your friends. If you don't like the show, too bad. Give us 5 stars anyways.
We still love you.
Yes. If you want more Para-Unity, or if you want to be a guest on the show, make sure you stop by our website or our Facebook or Instagram pages. If you want to help support the show, head over to the website, buy us a coffee.
Mm-hmm. And also, let me add to this, guys. If you really want to be a guest on the show, please contact us. Then you don't have to worry about listening to me and Brandon talk again.
Well, you'll have to listen to us talk. Just there'll be somebody else that's way more interesting. That's
much more interesting and much smarter than the two of us.
Really, really cool
Absolutely.
Stuff.
Oh, yeah, very much so. But on that lovely self-deprecating note.
Yep, my name is Brandon.
And I'm Whitney. And you've been in the best place to listen to the one place where our para families can be brought a little closer together. And that was so awkward, but I don't care. But we're the Para-Unity podcast, and we love you guys so much. Good night.
Good night.